Welcome to the X Block.
Am I right, Marine? Sir, yes, sir! Then listen up.
You're listening to the X Block. I'm Jared. He's Caleb. Let's get into it.
You are listening to the X Block Podcast, episode 32. I'm Jaren, and I'm here with Caleb.
Hey,
And this is the world's #1 Xbox podcast.
probably, Jaren.
It's always a probably. Did we even play any games this week, Caleb?
Dude, that's a fantastic question. I've been working my ass off, dude. I've played like almost no games, but I did, because I thought that yesterday. I was like, what games have I played that I can even talk about on the podcast? First of all, no one wants to hear me talk about them, but second of all, I'm going to go over them anyway, Jaren. I got Zombie Army 4 Dead War. You know that game?
Mm-hmm.
Added another 12-wave, Horde mode achievement. Went in and got that. So that's a riveting experience that you all know about, okay? Then played like a match or two of Splitgate, because I needed to take some screenshots for some articles. So that was crazy, Jaren. Crazy experience. Then the big one, and I was going to tell you about this yesterday, man. So regardless of the fact that I was busy and didn't play games this week, really, Jaren, I find time on Wednesdays to fish and Sea of Thieves.
Of course.
Yeah, Walter was talking to me. And we were like just fishing, a couple hours in, and he's like, I don't like the way Jaren disparages fishing on the podcast. he was like, I don't know how I feel about that.
I don't disparage fishing.
I don't know, Jaren. You don't really hype it up either, you know what I mean?
What I disparage is the man who claims to not like fishing constantly spends his time fishing and playing different fishing games, and then every time there's a game with fishing in it, he's like always doing it.
It's a way of life, Jaren. Well, and Sea of Thieves, like I've been writing guides for the website that I write for, Gameper. I've been writing guides on how to catch all the fish in Sea of Thieves. I've got like 5 of them up. And then I've done ones on how to cook them perfectly. I have one on how to fish. So if you need guides on that, you can go look those up. But if you're new to this podcast, you have no idea what I'm talking about.
And I've fished in real life, so I'm totally down with fishing. I've used to go and do it multiple times a year.
You fish in real life?
Yeah.
Did you catch a wild splash, Jaren? Where were you fishing at?
I was fishing in Temagami.
Temagami? Where's that, Jaren? Is that in the Devil's Roar? I hate the Devil's Roar, man. You go there. Dude, it's foggy. There's fucking volcanoes erupting everywhere. Shit's crazy, Jaren. The water's boiling and on fire. It's the worst. Jaren, you try to catch you a forsaken devilfish, all right? If you can tell me, Jaren, the difference between an indigo splashtail and a sapphire ancient scale, Jaren, all right, then you could talk to me. How about that?
They're different fish.
Well, I guess you got me there, Jaren. All right. Fucking fair play.
Oh, is that all you've been playing? Just Sea of Thieves?
Yeah, dude. I do shit this week. I've just been fishing and Sea of Thieves. I think I'm fishing today. I think I woke up and Walter texted me like, yo, I got some time tonight if you boys want to finish up the ancient scales. And I'm like, hell yeah.
What are you guys going to do when you're done fishing? Are you going to move on to a different fishing game?
No, we thought about that. We may just try to max out, the gold hoarders. And the merchants and the Order Souls, aka play the game. You ever played Sea of Thieves, Jaren?
You guys are going to transition to being real pirates from fishermen.
Yeah, dude. We really earned our fortune, though. You know how much gold I have in Sea of Thieves?
A lot, probably.
Like 1.8 million.
Jesus.
You know how much Walter has? Like 2.9 or something.
That's
Eric
too
has
much.
like 7 something.
7 gold?
Yeah, 7 something million.
Oh,
gold.
okay.
God, yeah, he's played that game for like 24 days.
I thought Eric was just the shit one of the group. It's like, I've got 2 million, I've got a couple 100,000, Eric's got 7.
Eric's the guy, Jaren. He'll tell me he's like studying for like an accounting exam or something, and he'll get on and just like idle in a crew and then just get all the loot, that they turn in.
Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of smart, but it's also kind of crazy, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a bit much.
Yeah. But anyway, I've just been fishing, man. What about you?
I finished Avengers.
What does that mean?
I finished the main storyline for the single player part of the game. I now have 3 single player DLCs to play, but they're each 2 hours each, and they were just included, so I might as well play them.
How long did it take you to finish that? It actually ends the single player? It doesn't just go into the multiplayer?
It ends, and then it has a very much and to be continued, but then the multiplayer doesn't really have anything to do from what I see of the actual thing that they end with, they're actually going to make another one. I feel like when they made it, they thought they were going to make another one, and then it didn't work, so now they're not. The main part of the story does just end, and there's kind of a conclusion. Not that satisfying of a one, but overall, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, all right. So was it like about Kamala Khan the whole time?
It's about Kamala Khan. Essentially, Kamala Khan for the first bit of the story replaces Captain America because as everyone's seen in the trailer for the very first start of the game, like Captain America dies.
Yo, spoilers. All right.
So that's like the first 15 minutes of the game. So she's kind of like replacing him almost as not like the leader, but she's like bringing everyone back together. And she even gives like a Captain America kind of speech when they're all fighting to kind of like bring them back together. It's not on the level of like his kind of speech where he's like being like, all right, I'm going to go do this myself kind of thing, where she does like do that kind of speech. And then the events of like the end of the game kind of kick off. And obviously the Avengers are successful because it's Avengers game.
Does she ever say Avengers Assemble?
No, she looks at a character in the game and says, isn't this when you say Avengers Assemble? And Tony Stark says, nah, we don't really do that.
Well, haha. All right, guys, I see how it is. All right, dude. So like 4 out of 10, right?
Yeah, it was fun. It was like a 7. I'd give the campaign like a 7.
Wow. Okay. So the campaign highly recommended by Jaren if you have Game Pass, which you should.
It's fun if you like Marvel stuff.
Yeah. There you go. What are the achievements? How you looking on your alt account without going for the achievements? How you looking?
Oh, I haven't even looked, so I don't know.
Wow, that's fucking riveting information from Jaren right here. Thank you.
No idea. And I've been playing MLB The Show while I listen to podcasts with my player that I made called Kevin with 2 different ways of spelling Kevin.
Why'd you go with Kevin, Jaren?
I had no idea. I gave him like a really weird looking face to the point where he wears glasses, but his eyes protrude past the glasses, so you just see like the rims coming out of the side of his head.
No. What's wrong with you? You know? What's wrong with us, Jaren? Like, I fish on Wednesdays now, and you're out here making this shit in MLB, you know? What a podcast.
Dude, what a podcast it is. And I guess people want to maybe hear us talk about the news, so we should move into Outside the Box.
All right.
I'm thinking outside
The box.
Where we cover all the news you need to know outside the Xbox community. And the first thing of 2 on Outside the Box, Warner Brothers is here, Caleb, and they want to smash.
Me?
Yes, you.
Like the smash, like, you know what I mean? Or like the Hulk smash kind of thing?
A mix of both, because Warner is reportedly making a Smash Brothers style game with Batman and Gandalf.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
That's according to a Reddit report corroborated by journalist Jeff Grubb, and this article is written by Chris Scullion over for VGC, and he continues with, further credibility was given to the claims following the discovery of a trademark filing by Warner Brothers, which was registered last month, for the name Multiverses. So they're going to steal Facebook's thing that Mark Zuckerberg wanted to do. What was that, the metaverse or whatever he wanted to do?
Well, I don't know, man. Did he want to do a game, or are you talking about the Meta parent company they just changed it to?
Yeah, he's making a real life Smash Brothers where he's going to manipulate people through Facebook to fight with targeted ads.
He's making an actual Smash Brothers. It's all a fucking con.
That had nothing to do with this story, by the way, people, but the Reddit post claimed this weekend that the game was handled by Mortal Kombat developer NetherRealm Studios, is based on Super Smash Bros., and is a tag team game, though the poster wasn't clear on what this meant. And there have also been leaked images by like some Smash Brothers streamer. I guess maybe he was working with them or testing, but he put up some image and it has like cartoony versions of Batman, Harley Quinn, Rick and Morty, Gandalf, Wonder Woman, Superman, and then like a weird green reindeer looking thing.
Yeah, that's past my time, you know, with Warner Brothers. I don't know that thing. But they have Shaggy in there. Yeah, going back to that first VGC article, though, I love how they say that the Reddit post initially said that, you know, like it was being developed by NetherRealm, who makes Mortal Kombat. And then Jeff Grubb, like journalist Jeff Grubb, confirmed that it was real on Twitter, but it's not a NetherRealm game.
Yeah, like, of course. Like, I was reading through that, and I was like, there's no way that's true. And then the line under it is like, yeah, confirmed on Twitter that it's not a NetherRealm game. And I was like, there's no way. They were making Injustice 3, and then they stopped making it because they weren't sure if WB was going to sell them.
Yeah. And then an interesting part of that is they say that, and VGC says that reporter had claimed in August that NetherRealm was already working on Mortal Kombat 12, prioritizing it over its DC superhero series Injustice due to uncertainty over its future with parent company Warner Brothers Games. So that kind of goes back to the whole thing we've been talking about in many episodes about Warner Brothers' uncertainty over, or the studio's uncertainty about when they had that, I don't know what it was, like a merger with Discovery or something, right? Yeah. And they were like, didn't know which studios were going to stay with them and which ones are going to go to Discovery. So they started prioritizing Mortal Kombat 12 development. And yeah, I guess they've been, how long do you think they've been working on this Multiverses game? Do you think it was before the Ultra Instinct Shaggy meme took off, or after, you know?
And probably after, right?
Like, how did they? And it's like, so they put Shaggy in the game, Jared. Like, they know, you know, like he's in that leaked roster image thing. So like they're he was in that one. They mentioned at some point he was in one sort of like thing before an animated, I think Mortal Kombat movie or some nonsense. I don't remember. You know?
Yeah.
So they kind of like they know, man. Like they know Ultra Instinct Shaggy's like the most powerful being on the internet, and they're making a fight. I don't know if they made the fighter based on that idea or if the idea came first and they added him to the fighter, but I want to know.
He's definitely in there because of the meme.
Yeah, it's got to be it, right?
This feels very much something that like a company like Warner Brothers would make, because I imagine like an executive was sitting in an office and he's like, wait, so Nintendo makes Smash Brothers and nobody makes anything that really competes with that? They make Mario Party and no one really makes anything that competes with that? And they make Mario Kart, which people are just starting to try to compete with. Why don't we make a Smash Brothers? And everyone was like, everyone's been saying this for years and years and years.
It's a good idea, and VGC points out that they have a history with like mixing together a bunch of IPs with Lego Dimensions and the Serververse and Space Jam: A New Legacy and all those things. But unfortunately, they also point out that they say in an article, speaking in the Giant Bomb video on Wednesday via Nibble, journalist Jeff Grubb claimed to have heard that Multiverses, which is the alleged name of the Warner Brothers Smash Bros. Game, could be a free-to-play title with future characters sold as DLC, including LeBron James.
Isn't that... Dude, I was going to ask you who you wanted to see in the game, and my pick was going to be LeBron James.
Well, I mean, they're ahead of the game, man. They know you want LeBron James. But Jaren, it looks like you're going to have to buy LeBron James.
Oh, no.
Well, I guess to be fair, like the idea is that, well, the game's free. So if you spend $5 on LeBron, you only spent $5 versus a $30 game or whatever. Is that their idea?
I guess. Hopefully it's not like a mobile game.
Yeah, I hope it's actually something worthwhile. I guess you're right, it could be a mobile game. That'd be disappointing. But yeah, I mean, I wonder, the one thing I was wondering when I saw this was, so they have Smash Brothers now, who just added their final character for Ultimate, I think.
Yep.
And then they have the Nickelodeon's All-Star Brawl game, which is coming out.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're going to have this. And so, like, how's all that going to shake out? Clearly, nothing's going to take over Smash. But, like, is one of these Nickelodeon or Warner Brothers games going to fall off? Are you people even going to play this?
This one has to be the second biggest. It has Batman.
It does have Batman. Yeah, it does. But it may not be a better game, though, you know? Like, because the fighting community cares more about the gameplay on a more pro scene, and, like, a lot of what keeps it, you know, in the mainstream like that.
Yeah, that's true.
They care deeply about mechanics. Like, that's why a lot of the Dragon Ball... Not the 3D, like the 3D fighter games clearly don't really do well, but then you have like Dragon Ball FighterZ, which really took off, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, we'll see, because it looks like the Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl game. I mean, all we've seen are images of the character rosters at this point and heard about it, but I would imagine that Nickelodeon game is going to be like a better gameplay feel, given how much they've been going over it.
That was pretty much the main piece of news. The second piece of news is Ubisoft has quietly delayed Tom Clancy's The Division Heartland, and it's given itself wiggle room with Prince of Persia and, you know, Rocksmith fucking Plus, the biggest game of the goddamn year. So essentially 3 games no one gives a shit about.
I got a joke, Jaren. Are you heartbroken about this Heartland news, Jaren? You know what I mean?
All right, yeah, you know, we'll just stop there. That's the end, Caleb.
No, come on, let's talk about this more, man. So what happened with this news is they announced The Division Heartlands recently, right? I guess, did they announce it recently or just show the trailer recently?
They showed the trailer a few months ago, like May this year?
Yeah, I mean, that's when everybody, kind of cared about it, whether people knew about it before or not. And so, I say care. They learned about it, we'll put it that way. And so it's supposed to come out before the end of fiscal year 2022, so like March of next year. And then in their earnings report, they silently delayed it by listing it for their upcoming titles in their 2022 to 2023 fiscal year, I believe. So it's like they didn't announce the delay, but then if you just like look at the earnings reports, which I did, and you're like, oh, well, I guess they delayed it. And then also Prince of Persia, and I think Rocksmith Plus were supposed to come out just in 2022 of next year, but now they've given themselves more wiggle room because I think they've just been listed for the fiscal year of 2022 to 2023, so now they have till March of 2023 instead of just the end of 2022.
I like how they sat down and were like, hey, maybe we shouldn't drop like 7 games this year.
Yeah, I know. And one thing, by the way, I want to list this from IGN, because I kind of found this, I didn't really put this all together, but it is kind of like crazy. And this is not just a Ubisoft thing. This is kind of everybody nowadays when you just round it all up. But they say at the end of this article, Ubisoft does this kind of thing a lot. Rainbow Six Extraction, Immortals Phoenix Rising, and Watch Dogs Legion were all delayed back in 2019. And then Extraction was delayed again. Riders Republic, out today, underwent multiple delays.
It's out today?
Far Cry 6 was pushed, well, at the time of writing, yeah, it's already out, I think. This
Wild.
article is from October 28th, so yesterday, as of the time we're recording.
God, who knew?
Yeah, exactly, who knew? But anyway, not to the point. They say out today underwent multiple delays. Far Cry 6 was pushed back, as was Avatar. Skull and Bones has been delayed again and again since it was revealed in 2017. And when Ghost Recon Frontline was announced earlier this year, its beta was promptly delayed a week later. It's like, dude, that's what I say. Whenever a company tells you a release date, more likely than not, that's not it. Like over 50% chance that that's not actually when the game's gonna launch at this point, right?
I like how this gets pointed out on everybody but Sony, though. Sony's like the OG for it.
Yeah, I preempted that when I said, like, this is every company. It's just that they listed Ubisoft because it's a Ubisoft article. And I guess Rebecca Valentine is a pretty good reporter, so she actually... Like, if I were to write this article, Jaren, it would take me, depending on how much it took to get the information and all these things, an hour or a little less to write this article. But it would take me like another hour to look up all those delays at the end, in the last paragraph. I don't know how she put those together so quick, but anyway.
She's been around for a long time, so it's totally possible she was just like, I remember all this.
Yeah, usually I remember things, though, and then I have to look them up to confirm before I publish them.
Maybe she's just got confidence,
Yeah, maybe she does. Anyway, I found that interesting because I was like, man, that info, all of that just lined out, all those delays there. You're like, dude, everything gets delayed. Why does the company even bother? I know they do it for their shareholders, but from a consumer standpoint, I'm like, why even bother?
Yeah, Caleb mentioned it earlier, by the way, and earnings reports, that was a big thing for this week, but we didn't want to give you a bunch of numbers. So Ubisoft's doing good. PlayStation sold a lot of PS5s.
Yeah, I'll just say Far Cry 6 has a 25% higher playtime per player than Far Cry 5. It's selling about in line with Odyssey right now, though I assume it won't sell as much as Odyssey. Assassin's Creed Valhalla is Ubisoft's second largest earning, I think, game ever.
See, Caleb, why'd they say that? Why'd they phrase it like that and then not give out the first game, though? Is it because the first game's Odyssey and they didn't want to make it sound like the series is losing money?
That could be it. It's just for shareholders. They're trying to get investors on board and all that. But yeah, it's the end of the fiscal year, like this quarter. So yeah, Microsoft's got some news. They've got Ubisoft has news. I don't know if EA's come out with stuff yet, but I think Take-Two's is November 3rd. So next week you can probably expect us to talk about some Take-Two news.
Yeah, maybe some stuff will actually get leaked in there. Maybe that's why they announced all their games like was it like a month or 2 months ago? They announced all the games because they're like, they're going to get leaked in the earnings report anyway, so we might as well announce them.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, so stay tuned for that. And if you're Jaren, I hope you're not too heartbroken about Heartlands, Jaren. You know what I mean?
You came back to it. We were going to let it go, and then you came back to it. All right, Caleb, let's get on to the X block.
If we could afford somebody to record that, Jaren, you think we have anybody on the line that we can get to record that?
No one.
You sure?
Even if this podcast makes $1 billion,
every week I feel my soul.
We won't have anyone for it. It'll just be too expensive. Even if it makes $1 billion, too expensive.
All right, master.
The first thing we're going to tackle, more rumored Xbox games, Caleb. It feels like we get a new rumored Xbox game every week.
Jaren, if you know what? Go ahead. That's it.
Windows Central, I believe this is Jez Corden. Project Belfry. Xbox is working with the Banner Saga developer Stoic Studio on an exclusive. You ever play any of the Banner Saga games, Caleb?
No, I've seen them around, but it turns out I don't have all the time in the world to play fucking Banner Saga, I'm too busy fishing at Sea of Thieves. I got important things to do.
You are very busy with Sea of Thieves. Project Belfry will sport similar painted art styles to that found in the Banner Saga, depicted above. So they have a picture of the Banner Saga and a trailer of it if you want to go and check out to see what the kind of art style will be, while sporting side-scrolling, brawling combat, similar to the likes of the PlayStation exclusive Dragon's Crown, which was a deep cut. I had no idea what the fuck Dragon's Crown was.
I've never heard of that. I mean, I read this article and I don't remember reading it.
Grub, who leaked this info, specifically linked the art style to the anime movie Princess Mononoke.
It's Mononoke. It's a Studio Ghibli film.
Oh, you know that one. There you go. You know the art style then, Caleb.
Yeah. I haven't seen it. It's just very popular kind of like classic anime film that's highly considered, a good film. This is supposed to be, what do they call, like a tactical RPG?
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. It's going to be like a side-scrolling brawler-style action combat RPG mix thing.
I don't know even what the hell that means, but apparently this is what they're working on. So, get hyped, Jared. What do you think about that? Have you played Banner Saga? Are you excited? Do you think this is cool?
I feel like originally when Game Pass was announced, I was like, cool. I'm just gonna, every Xbox game they give me for free, I'll probably play or give a shot to. But now, like, there are so many coming that I feel like it's possible that in 2 years I could only play Xbox games if that's what I did for an entire year.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense too, because I don't want to spend $60, $50 on a new Far Cry game. I'll just wait. So I got enough to play, but it's just like I have so much to play, and I have a backlog. I have a literal list of games to play, and games that I want to play more than this. For instance, I still haven't played The Messenger. One day I'm going to play it, but I still haven't played it. And so if this comes out and I haven't played The Messenger, I'm playing The Messenger, Jaren. I mean, this is cool, though. This is for somebody, and it looks like, somewhat of a tactical RPG vein, I guess is what they're talking about. Something I was going to ask you, though, how many RPGs do they need on the Xbox service?
They're gonna make every single one. They've even got people who don't traditionally make making RPGs. And something that's not in here, just that I wanted to throw in quick, that I saw on Twitter, Xbox is rumored to have some big third-party exclusive deal that will be announced at some point, and apparently everybody's really excited about it, but that's the only news on it.
Okay, is it really news if Xbox has a big deal that they're gonna announce? Because I feel like they could do that at any point every year.
And speaking of you asking me if I was going to play this game, I feel like this game is kind of on the back burner, and if it comes out and it's really great, maybe I'll move on to it then. But something that, if it is true that I would play day one, is supposedly a Wu-Tang Clan RPG is in the works at Microsoft, and it's by New Studio Brass.
If you go to VGC and read Jordan Middler's article and you look at this fucking featured image that he has of the Wu-Tang Clan, it's hot.
Apparently the game is set to be a third-person fantasy RPG that will be a couple dozen hours in length and feature seasonal content, which is the thing that everyone was pointing at and being like, what does that mean? Does that mean that it's live service game?
Why do they have incredibly deep voices?
I don't like the live service game. Killer.
Why do they sound like that? They're human beings.
Don't give me no live service game.
Are you playing the Wu-Tang Clan game?
Yeah, dude. I'm gonna hop in there.
That's the one you're hyped for. Okay.
Oh, it's got 4-player co-op too, supposedly.
God, am I gonna have to play this?
Oh, dude, yeah, they're making the soundtrack too. The Wu-Tang Clan is making the soundtrack for the game.
In this one, though, third-person fantasy RPG that will be, quote, couple dozen hours, end quote. Yeah, so, dude, how many RPGs do we need, Jaren? Like, the Banner Saga game seems like a game for Banner Saga fans. It's not a Banner Saga game, but those people are making it. And it's having a kind of, neat art style in the vein of Princess Mononoke. So, and I guess that's kind of like a tactical RPG kind of game if it's going to be like Banner Saga. And so, it's like you have one RPG there, and then if you're into that, and then you just got the Wu-Tang Clan fucking seasonal RPG if you're into that. And it's like, PlayStation is the place for like third-person, action games that are more open world than traditionally dreary. That's their kind of thing. Xbox isn't that because they have a wide range of games in their catalog, as well as like, and I'm talking like second-party games and all that too, like everything in Game Pass. There's just a lot going on there, that like differentiates all the different genres. But this one, it's like, how many RPGs do they need, Jer? How many? How many RPGs? Because they're going to be the RPG people.
This game, though, sound like third-person fantasy RPG, Caleb, mixed with a Wu-Tang Clan soundtrack. This feels like what Scalebound could have been if it was made by way cooler people.
It's true, the Wu-Tang Clan soundtrack really brings it home.
Like, could you imagine fighting a dragon with a hard rap soundtrack in the background?
It's going to depend on the combat and how it looks if I want to play it. We'll learn more if this turns out to be real, because I guess it's technically still a rumor at this point, even though I think Jez Corden and Jeff Grubb both say that it's real. But, we haven't actually had an official announcement. So once we see more, we'll have more to say. At this point, we'll say deeply interested.
Yeah,
deeply
definitely.
Interested in the Wu-Tang Clan RPG.
It just sounds different, which makes it exciting.
Yeah, you would think Banner Saga, the Banner Saga Belfry, whatever the hell they're working on, people come along and they're like, yo, we got something different. And you're like, well, is it a Wu-Tang Clan RPG? And they're like, well, no, but look at this art style. Well, I don't care.
And I guess all this new game development has really skyrocketed Xbox hardware sales because they have risen by 166%, as reported by Eddie McCuck over at GameSpot. He also talks about how Microsoft's overall gaming revenue has grown by 16%, and this is from their fiscal reports, as we hinted at earlier. And this is the only one we're going to talk about because it's Microsoft, so we kind of have to let you know.
Yeah, and GameSpot has a great write-up over there on their website if you want to go check out Eddie McCuck and What Dude's article. If we get down deeper into the article, Xbox content and services revenue rose by 2%. And then CFO Amy Hood said on an earnings call that Microsoft shipped more Xbox Series X and S consoles than expected during the period, despite the ongoing chip shortage and other supply issues. And then you and I brought up in a conversation a few days ago off the podcast where you were like, yeah, and they're using a lot of those to fuel their servers in the back end, like a lot of the tech and hardware in there. The Series X's run their cloud servers. So, they didn't expect, and they also just didn't expect to sell as many as they did, which is good for them because they're selling fewer units than PlayStation, but in terms of what they're expecting to sell, they're doing better. And then if we go further down here in the article, they say that the growth in Xbox content and services revenue is also positively affected by first-party games, but was offset by, quote, declines from third-party titles, end quote, Microsoft said, though it did not name any titles outright. And then they say, this is where it gets interesting. According to Take-Two CEO Strauss Zelnick, Game Pass might have 30 million members, but Xbox Phil Spencer has pushed back on this. So that's part of that. And then they say, which we reported on 2 or 3 weeks ago, on an earnings call, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella said the Xbox division set records for monetization and engagement during the period. He added that growth is expected in the future with the launches of several key titles, including Halo Infinite and Forza Horizon 5, as well as the expansion of Xbox Cloud Gaming, which, that's supposed to launch fully on all consoles by the end of the year. Mm-hmm. And then Nadella also spoke about how many developers use Microsoft's Azure services, including Bungie and Krafton. So we already kind of knew about that, but it's just an interesting thing to reinforce that kind of a lot of people in the industry use Microsoft's cloud services, including Sony. Even if they're not partnered with Xbox.
Yep.
And then they say Microsoft is a gigantic company and gaming is just one segment. Overall, here's the part that I was like, damn, Darren. Microsoft posted revenue of $45.3 billion, up 22% for the quarter, ended September 30th. In terms of income, Microsoft made a profit of $20.5 billion.
Yo, fun fact, Caleb. How much did they make again? Read that. Or overall revenue, not profit.
Revenue, $45.3 billion.
Sony Corporation's net worth is an estimated up to $45 billion.
Billion. Microsoft made that in a quarter of a year. 1 quarter in revenue. And then in profit, which is just raw profit, they made $20 billion. When you cut off operating costs, and salaries and things like that, and it's just how much money did the company make? $20.5 billion. Just absurd amount of money, Jared. That's a stupid amount of money, man. That's most economies.
And now is around the time where you might see acquisitions and stuff because Microsoft has money to spend because they will have now allocated their budgets and stuff based on giving these updates to their shareholders.
Yeah, and we've heard a lot of rumors from Jeff Grubb and Jez Corden and things, and about Hideo Kojima and every fucking thing else that should be announced maybe in the next year or whatever the hell. But then GameSpot mentions that when Phil Spencer spoke about how Microsoft plans to acquire even more gaming studios in the future, he said, quote, "We're definitely not done. There's no quota, no timeline where I have to go acquire studios by a certain time, but if we find a studio where we have a good fit, absolutely." So yeah, just another reminder to expect that kind of stuff moving forward. Today, as of we're recording this, Microsoft announced that it acquired, it wasn't a gaming studio, but it was a company that does moderation for people sending you the N-word through Xbox messages,
Yeah, and apparently they've worked together a bunch before, so it's just a company that makes sense to buy.
Yeah, so they've already been working with them, and yeah, now it's just okay, now we own them, but probably business as usual for the most part, and it's just a moderation thing. But I don't know how much money they spent on it, but that was an acquisition that Microsoft made today, or announced today. So
yeah, and since we're talking about Microsoft working with other companies and that kind of thing, we might as well just hop quick to that streaming is back, or easy streaming is back, as I kind of called it, because Microsoft used to have an integration with Mixer where you could just stream straight from your console to Mixer. Now they've added that ability in with Twitch, and they've brought streaming back to the Xbox platform with an easy touch of the button.
Yeah, it's under the Capture and Share tab if you open your Xbox Guide, although it's not available for everybody right now. It's being tested by Alpha Skip Ahead and Alpha Insiders, so you're going to have to be one of those, and then you should now be able to just go into a tab for live streaming that lets you immediately stop live streaming, pause, name your stream, turn on or off your microphone, have camera options, and other things. So,
and from what people have said about it, the feature is totally early days, which means unlike some features which get tested in alpha skip ahead like a couple months before release, this could be a little further out.
yeah, so stay tuned. But yeah, integrated Twitch streaming on the PlayStation side. We're not a PlayStation podcast, Jaron, but did you see they integrated Apple Music?
Oh.
Yeah, that was kind of interesting. They fully integrated Apple Music into the PS5, I think.
Oh, I saw. My O was just sarcastic.
Oh, I thought you were kind of interested. You know what, Jaron? This is what I talk about with you and the fishing. This is what I talk about. You're just mean sometimes.
It's just Apple Music. Everyone's got Spotify. It's cool. Apple's partnering with PlayStation. Great. That's what we need is Apple coming in and buying Sony.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, one day, who's buying Sony, Jaron? Disney?
It better be Disney or somebody that's not Apple. Just not Apple. Because then we're gonna get we're gonna get redesigns of the PlayStation 5 every 6 months with different ports. So you have to buy all your new controllers again.
God of War, $10,000.
It comes with a gold disc, rose
if you
gold.
want to replace your plastic case, that'll be an extra $85.
All right, Caleb, it's your time to shine. Hit us with the Halo block.
Oh, okay, here we go, boys. What's up? It's the Halo block, your favorite podcast within a podcast, where we talk about everything Halo-related on the lead-up to Halo Infinite's launch. And Jaron, boy, do we have news. We didn't know the state of the Halo Infinite campaign. They left us in the dark, Jaron. It's getting close, December 8th's rolling around. Where the fuck's the campaign, Jaron? Where'd they put it? Did they put it under you? I don't know. But guess what, Jaron? This week, we got... I know that wouldn't. This week, Jaron, we got a Halo Infinite campaign overview. So we had a whole 6-minute thing with the Master Chief and Cortana, and it was almost all in-game footage, running, where it showed a lot of the different story beats that you can expect, and a lot of the enemy designs, and the improved combat, and some of the regions, and things like the Harbinger, fucking whoever the fuck that is, some Spartan killer goddamn elites, Jaron. It's hot. It's kicking off, Jaron. And we got to see more of the UI and some of the gameplay elements. But anyway, I'm not going to describe this whole thing, because we'd be here for the next 85 days. If you want to go watch the campaign overview trailer, just go to YouTube, type in Halo campaign overview trailer, and you can watch it for yourself, and there's a lot there. I cannot go over it all, or I would not stop talking. What I will say, though, Jaron, is that they showed some features of the game, different kind of keeps and outposts type combats or type things in the open world. And they showed a bit of Master Chief's kind of UI elements and design in the menus and things, where he has upgrades and boosters and stuff for his his grappling hook, and his deployable cover maybe, or some other things. And it got me thinking, Jaron, because I didn't know exactly how I felt about the campaign overview. I knew I was positive about it. I was like, this is awesome. It looks fun. It looks great. The combat and all the enemies look awesome. And the environment, even though it's mostly Pacific Northwest, still looks kind of interesting to explore. I wish, Chris Ray Gun, there was a bit more biome diversity that he talks about, but it looks like they didn't really focus on that in this game. We'll see if that kind of injures it. It might a little bit toward the end, if it gets a little bit of samey. But the thing that I kind of came away with, after thinking about it for a while, is that I'm worried that the game may be a little bit too gamey now. Where it has the Far Cry feel of, outposts that you need to clear. And if you look at the map, their tactical HUD, or whatever it's called, the visor, you open your map, it shows, I saw in a screenshot, if you hover over an area, it has, in the bottom left of the screen, it's collectibles. And it'll show, 0 of 2 of this, 0 of 5 of this, 0 of 7 of this, 0 of 4 of this, all in that region,
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, so there's a shit ton of collectibles, fucking great. And then, you have to collect upgrades, and that if, when you come to an outpost, it'll have, you'll get in the area, and it'll be the keep kind of pop up on top of your screen, wherever the hell. And then it'll have, 2 icons where it's 0 of 2 this, 0 of 3 Spartan upgrades, or whatever. And you're like, okay, I'm worried that they're gonna make this game a bit too gamified, which will take away from Halo's more kind of immersive, integrated story that we traditionally know. I don't know if that's going to be the case, but that's what I'm worried about.
That's what I pointed out to you when we were just talking about it briefly at the start, where I said that it looked like a mix of when you do the open world, you always kind of hope for a story-driven game to be more Red Dead than Far Cry. And it seemed like this game was leaning more towards Far Cry's there's a shitload of stuff on the map, you can do anything, where Red Dead is very much you can do anything, but we have a very specific streamlined story that we want you to follow as well. And I hope that when we actually get into the campaign and can
Just
play.
by the way, if you hear somebody mowing outside, it's because they're a jackass mowing at 12:30 on a Friday. But go ahead.
Okay. And yeah, so I just hope it leans more towards that like side, the Red Dead side. And the one thing I got from the trailer, which I mentioned to you, was that it felt very much like Marvel made a Halo game. Master Chief had like lots of jokes. There was lots of like quippy, like sense of humor things that were put in it. And I just wanted to title the trailer Marvel Presents Halo Infinite. Chief's Got Jokes.
Yeah, that would have been pretty. It was a little bit more jokey in this one, but that also has to deal with Cortana, or the weapon, who we know if you've read you haven't, Jaren, and you, the audience, have not, but I have read the Halo Shadows of Reach book, that came out less than a year ago, and that whole book is about them going to Reach to get some flash clones of Dr. Halsey's brain from when she took like 20 of them to make Cortana. And so in the book, they get the flash clone brains, and so they're going to use those. That's clearly what they use to make this new weapon, Cortana AI, in this game. And she, for some reason, is a bit more quirky and innocent and like cheeky. And that's kind of where the humor. She's like going to be a big point of levity, I assume, for the character, as well as the interactions between the stoic, serious Master Chief and the Marine guy who's like super, like actually reacting normally to situations like a human would. So there's going to be a bit of humor in that way.
Yeah, so definitely the new kind of like introduced humor that we didn't have in previous Halo games kind of makes me more excited for it. Like I was already excited for Halo and the multiplayer for us to play it. As a person who doesn't usually play multiplayer games, I was like, this multiplayer looks fun. And from what I played in the flight, I enjoyed. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to just playing this campaign solo and kind of just getting this new almost feel of Halo and kind of experiencing that.
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be different, but I think it's still going to hold the tone and everything. And the campaign overview has me more positive than I thought it'd be before. I thought they were kind of hiding the campaign. Seems like they're diving in deep. And then just to kind of wrap up the Halo block, since it's a bit longer, they had a huge Halo Inside Infinite October post. It's fucking huge over on Halo Waypoint. It's absurd. It's stupid. They even mentioned in the beginning of the post, we're really going to stretch how long we think an Inside Infinite post could be. Like really test the limits. And it's long as hell. So if you want to go over there and read that, they go over like designs for the different enemy types and the inspiration that they took from Halo 3 and Reach, and they talk about the way they approached combat design, like combat elements and using color to distinguish enemy types and a bunch of different other things. They describe some cool shit, like you can shoot, like the brutes will sometimes throw grunts at you or like throw the fusion coils at you, and if you use your grappling hook on a brute sometimes to like knock it away, and it may knock it to like a jackal shield, which would then break the jackal shield, but you won't grappling hook, like different kind of design elements like that, and some enemy types that they went over. And then they go over a bit of the UI elements for the map and the, I guess the multiplayer menus and things, and how like each individual armor piece in the menus is rendered in real time to show you, like if you have a color palette equipped for your armor, then it will show you pieces if you're hovering like a bunch that you don't have equipped. It'll show you them in your current color palette. And they achieved that by making it renders each of those images rather than them just being stagnant screenshots, So that's kind of cool. And then, that's mainly the Inside Infinite post. A lot there. You can go read up on that. And finally, this is just the last part of the Xbox, I guess the Halo block that Jaren put in. It is from IGN. Halo. It says Halo 3s, but it's a bunch of Halo Xbox 360 original servers are shutting down. So if they announced this in the beginning of this year, unlike Sony, who just shuts shit down either immediately or within a month without telling fucking anybody, right? Unlike Sony, 343 announced a year ahead of time that they were going to sunset the 360 services, online services for a lot of the Halo 360 Halo games, which makes sense because, it's no one plays them anymore, and they have the Master Chief Collection now, so those games live on, and they're even better a lot in some ways than the previous ones. Like, honestly, at this point, I would rather play Halo 3 in 4K 120 frames per second, Jaren, if I'm being honest with you. I'm being really honest with you. So that makes sense. So you're not going to be able to access their online and things in a lot of ways. And they announced a specific date, which is, I think, January 13th, 2022. So they actually extended it a little bit because they said within a year, but that's actually a little bit afterward. But yeah, so January 13th, get all your shit in on the 360 Halo games if you haven't. Go to True Achievements if you want to get some achievements with some boys. Go into the, looking for players, boosting sessions and things like that, and get that shit done. And that's all I have for the huge Halo block this week because of the Inside Infinite post and the campaign overview trailer. A lot here. One of probably the last Inside Infinite, or not Inside Infinite, Halo blocks, Jaren, until Halo Infinite launches. Pretty on the up and up, but Halo block out.
Yeah, I can't wait till Halo Infinite comes to Game Pass. I'm excited.
I'm very excited, man. I just hope it's not too buggy.
Yeah, that's fair. And speaking of other things that are coming to Game Pass, Project Wingman gets a surprise Xbox Game Pass release for consoles. It just kind of dropped, so that would have been October 28th.
You know what we call October 28th, Jaren? We call that Riders Republic Day.
All right, well, Project Wingman got a surprise Xbox Game Pass release on whatever Republic of Riders game or whatever the fuck it's called.
No, dude. Are you playing Riders Republic?
No.
Come on, man. You know it's out now. You gonna go buy it?
I was shocked that it was out.
All right, go ahead, Jaren.
Also, coming in this November, pixel art RPG Undungeon is launching on Xbox Game Pass. So if you're looking forward to that in November, let us know. Hey, go over on Twitter. Maybe you can give us a X Factor discussion, because, spoiler, I didn't have one this week, so we're just going to review our game that we forgot to review last week.
We're great at this.
And also, a game that we already announced was coming to Game Pass, but now is officially in Game Pass. Our boys and girls over at Moonglow Bay have dropped in Game Pass. So if you're excited for that, go over and hit it up. And that's something that I'm definitely going to have to play. And that is the last of the X-Block related news. And now we're going to move into what would normally be the X Factor discussion, but we're going to give our reviews of Surgeon Simulator 2 All Access, or whatever it's called, which is the game that we spun last time. And if you don't know what Game Pass or gameplay is, every month, at the first week of the month, we spin a wheel and of games that are in Game Pass that Caleb and I haven't played, and it gives us one. It spits it out to us, and we got to play it, and we tell you, the audience, if you should play it or if you should pass. That's why it's called Game Pass or Gameplay.
There you go.
All right, Caleb, what did you think? All right, well, I already know what you thought, but what did we both think of Surgeon Simulator 2 All Access?
Let me tell you something, Jaren. So, by the way, yeah, we're supposed to review games at the end of the month, but we forgot last week. We were both really busy, but we did it for this week, and so it's fine. You know, it all works out, and we used to review our games on the first of the month anyway, too. We were going to play Surgeon Simulator 2, and I say we were, because, and I'll get into that. Surgeon Simulator 2 is a co-op game, right, Jerry?
Mm-hmm.
So what happens when you load up Surgeon Simulator 2 on Game Pass now? Does it have a co-op section for you to invite anybody?
There's 3 buttons. One of them says play.
So what happens, Jaren, if you press play?
You get put into a single player only tutorial.
Okay, so now Jaren and I are on the same page. We were in a party, ready to party up, talking to Jaren, you know? And I'm like, all right, let's get into this shit. All right, looks like there's a tutorial. So you load it to this tutorial, Jaren, and you're instantly in a first-person FOV. And it's I don't know why, but it's like a 100 FOV as opposed to the typical 75, 80. And so it's huge, and you're like, why? And then you have your left arm sticking out in front of you like you're trying to grab an Infinity Stone in Marvel's Avengers, okay? And that's just sitting there in front of you, waving around, wiggling around. And Surgeon Simulator is known for being a game that is the first one. Known for just, it's like an Octopath, or what is it, Octodad? But it's just with your hands, where you can't really control what you're doing. You're trying to do something very precise, surgery, but you can't really do things right. So you're cutting the man, you're flipping around, you're grabbing shit. And the first game was just supposed to be over the patient with your hands, and you can't move, and it's cool. This one, you walk around, and it's bigger, it's Surgeon Simulator 2, Jaren. So you walk around, and you have to go through this hospital area, and there's just shit everywhere. You gotta grab key cards to open doors, fucking riveting gameplay. You have to crouch to go under things, and you're like, all right, cool. Then you find your way to the operating room, and what is in the operating room? Bob. And what is Bob doing, Jaren? He's laying on the table, dying. And so, you have the first thing where you have to just pull off Bob's leg. Easy enough. You pull off his leg, you throw it into a bin, and like, cool, you're good. Move on to the next area, Jaren. And then you can go ahead and describe what happens when you move on to the next area.
Well, you continue the long-ass fucking tutorial for a game that's supposed to be confusing and dumb, and that's the joke of it. And then you just move on, you get into this next room, and it says, hey, grab that saw and cut off this dude's leg. So you grab the saw and you try to cut off his leg. Doesn't really work, but that is kind of the point of the game. You keep trying, doesn't work. Guy loses too much blood, game takes him away. Or sometimes he just glitches through the floor and gets taken away. Now, you'd figure there'd be a way to bring him back, but there ain't.
There's not, man. Yeah, you find Bob, you get that saw, it's like, grab it. If you don't grab it right, try dropping it and picking it back up. And you're like, okay, fucking God. And you pick up the saw, you go to his arm, there's like a dashed line there. You put the saw in there, and then you start just wiggling your thumbsticks, wiggling them back and forth. And no matter what you do, that arm does not come off, Jared. It doesn't. Like, I put the saw in there, I saw, I hear a little bit of progress, the progress stops, I'm like, what am I doing? Do it for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, it doesn't work. You can't saw off Bob's fucking arm. And then, yeah, he bleeds out, and yeah, supposedly something else is supposed to happen there, right? But that's not what happens. Bob goes through the floor that he came through on the operating table. You can see him down there now through a clear, impenetrable glass screen, even though usually there's like some floor stuff there, like actual tiles. And you see him there, and you can't do anything about it. So you wander around the room, you're locked in there, you can't press any buttons, the woman who was talking to you the whole time is gone. So she's not telling you what to do, she's not saying anything, there's no icon, there's nothing. You walk around, you can't press shit, you try to throw shit at the walls to break the glass to get out, doesn't work, can't do that. So it's literally a bug. And if it's not a bug, it's so obtuse that it might as well be, but I'm pretty sure, from a guy who plays a lot of games, Darren, you and I are stupid. Is that fair to say?
That's pretty fair.
But we know a lot about games. And I can usually, get out of a bug or tell if something's a bug or whatever. Not this game, dude. This was a bug, man. And not only did it happen to me, it happened to you right after that.
It did happen to me as well. But Caleb, how come if you press start, why don't you press start and press like reload checkpoint or quit?
Oh, because if you press start, here's what happens. Not only is there nowhere to exit to the main menu or quit or restart checkpoint, there's literally none of that. There's not even a screen that exists. It pulls up a menu that allows you to report a bug. So it's like, would you like to report a bug? And you can be like, yes or no. And it has like a screenshot or video option, a place where you can leave text to describe it. And then you could submit it, and you can leave your preference with the game with smiley faces for 5 different, I guess, how much you enjoyed the game. So clearly, that leads me to believe it was a bug. And so, in short, Jaren, I give Surgeon Simulator 2, we quit at that point, by the way. I was like, fuck this. This is, because obviously at that point, I would recommend to an audience of Xbox gamers with Game Pass, do not play this game. Pass on this one. Go play something else.
And I entirely agree with Caleb. I wouldn't play it. I just wanted to have some fun with my boy and maybe immediately hop into some co-op, but that's not allowed. And it's just not a good version of the game. Just bring back the OG Surgeon Simulator 1 and just put him on the other side of me of the table where he has the same view that I had in Surgeon Simulator 1 and we can lift it up and wave at each other.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Just add somebody else on his over his head and you can be from down his legs or at the side or something. Or one of us on each side or something, Yeah.
There you go.
But yeah, they made it too complicated, because I watched a lot of Achievement Hunters videos and things on Surgeon Simulator 1, and where they did it with 2 people, but I think each of them was holding one side of a controller. And it looked super fun, Or one of them was using the motion, one of them using the grab or something.
Yeah.
And it looked super fun, and funny. And I was like, oh, Jared and I are going to have a hell of a time in co-op. Turns out, no. Broken game, can't play it. Go play something else. There's way better things you can play in Game Pass with your time. Don't do this. I don't even recommend it if you like the first game. I just don't recommend it. Probably the worst game we've done so far.
So collectively, Caleb and I and the X-Block podcast give Surgeon Simulator 2 All Access, or whatever the fuck it's called, a pass. Don't play that.
Don't play that game, dude. There's so much else.
And now, let's spin the wheel, Caleb.
Spin that wheel.
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
And the game that we will be playing, Caleb, Wreckfest.
What the fuck is Wreckfest, man?
It is a car demolition game where you drive around in a demolition derby and you slam into cars until they break and your car has active destruction, piece by piece.
Is it co-op?
Yep. It is online.
Yes, dude. What is it with us and car games? We
I don't know.
played Dirt 5.
Yeah, and I feel like I've seen people play this game, and I feel like it's going to be a pass for what it is, but I guess we'll or not a pass, a play. I feel like it's going to be a play for what it is, but we'll find out.
Yeah, remember, we're not saying, complete these games. It's literally just me and Jaren being yo, you may want to try this out for, 30 minutes or an hour and just kind of dick around and see if it's for you, So this may be, we'll see, this may be a game where you just yo, load it up for, 30 minutes and just have a little good time.
Yeah, and you can look forward to our review on it the last week of November, if we remember this time.
Yeah, okay. And hopefully this, fucking, if you can hear this leaf blower man out here, hopefully he goes away soon here. If you can't, then you have no idea what I'm talking about.
All right, Caleb, we're now moving on to the FAF. And for everyone that doesn't know, the FAF is where you get the news that you don't really need to know, but the news that might be fun to find out. And I come in and I tell you all the shit that you didn't need to know, the stuff that you saw in your Twitter feed scrolling by and you almost clicked on it and I slapped your hand out by reaching through your screen. Yeah, you just come here, I'll tell you it, don't worry. All right, Caleb, hit me with the first one.
Microfaf.
And the first one, Caleb, Xbox stole our joke.
Are we funny? Do we call what we say jokes?
Xbox trailer predicts games will run at 32K, 480 FPS in the year 2042. They made a trailer promoting Battlefield 2042 that is features from the future.
They literally stole our bit. Guys, if you are this far in this podcast right now, go to YouTube or Spotify or wherever the hell you're listening to this and look up News from the Future X-Block Podcast. We literally did a special where we talked about the news as if it were the future. And I think I specifically mentioned like the 2040s in there. And then Xbox stole our bit. It was Jaren, I think it was Jaren's idea, if I'm not mistaken. But like, man, I can't believe it.
And the last thing, which Caleb had a chance to bring to our listeners himself, but he chose not to. New Halo Infinite inspired Dr. Squatch soap lets you smell like the Master Chief.
Shut the fuck up, Jaren. For our listeners, they emailed me. Literally, they emailed me via my work email to see if I wanted to review the soap. But I've been too busy this week to respond. So I don't think we're getting the soap, boys. But it's coming out. I don't know. On a different week, Jaren, I would have gone through the process to try to review that soap, to actually get it and go through the chain. But at this point, I don't know.
Caleb's betrayed you.
I said, you know what? No, Jaren. How dare you?
He has betrayed the listeners.
Fuck it, it's soap, Jaren.
We have been betrayed, listeners. I just want you to know that you and I are in the same boat. We both feel betrayed.
You're not in a boat. You don't fish with me, sir. I'll have you know. I know my crew.
I have my own boat full of betrayed people, and we just sail the seas of betrayal.
How dare
heavy,
you?
Heavy is it on our hearts.
Is it made out of your tears?
Yes. we boat on a sea full of tears.
Jared, maybe listen. When Halo Infinite 2 comes out, I'll review the soap.
I want you to email them now that on Monday and see if they'll still send you the soap.
Monday's my day off.
Too bad.
All right, well,
hit me with the next one, Caleb.
Denials, diddles, and dopey decisions. What was that middle one, Jared?
Judge denies Activision Blizzard's request to pause the California lawsuit. You know how Activision came with like the thing that my mom's like, hey, pause the game. And I'm like, it's a multiplayer game. I can't pause it. Activision said, yo, pause this trial. And the judge said, nah, you can't pause it.
Can't pause it, bro.
The other one, Bobby Kotick claims he'll take minimum wage until Activision Blizzard discrimination targets are met. So essentially he's saying he'll take minimum wage until Blizzard stops diddling people.
That's See, I don't think he has to do that, but if he wants to, that's cool.
Well, he also doesn't get paid a salary very much. That's the whole point. He avoids taxes. So I want him to not get any. I want his stocks not to go up. He has to sell them all right now until the diddling is done.
And they say he's like, oh, my capital gains.
Yeah, get rid of that. That'll really hurt you. You smug, freaky looking bastard.
Hey, man, how dare you? Don't make fun of him.
God, he's such a weird looking man. If I saw him outside of my window while I was pooping, dude, that'd be the quickest poop I ever had.
You're right.
The last one, Vicarious Visions to lose name after it fully merges with Blizzard Entertainment.
I wrote an article on this at GamePro if you want to read it, but yeah, shitty, as reported by Polygon, shitty-ass Activision. They took the people who brought Crash Bandicoot back from the dead with who made the Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, remakes. And then I guess, was it Leavin'? Does he like the third one?
Yeah, he does.
The third one. The people who made Leavin' happy once again. And then, the people who, they also brought back Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, the 1+2 remakes. So those people, Activision merged, they merged them with Blizzard, even though they're all under the same company, but they switched sides, essentially, within the company. And then Blizzard's like, yo, we're going to take away your identity, take away your name. And that's it. And you're also now support on Diablo.
It's like what I said to you. You know what you do when you have a PR, like when you have good PR with a studio? Their name is synonymous with good PR. You put them under the umbrella of the team that diddles people.
Activision is such ass. Like I've never forgiven EA for closing down Pandemic, or Visceral, but Activision is just being such dicks.
All right, Caleb. Now we're moving on to Quick Quips. This one's in Quick Quips because I didn't know what it meant. Ubisoft plans to create its own blockchain games to enable more play to earn.
As Kanye West once said, what the fuck does that mean, Kobe Bryant?
Lapsed Far Cry 6 players are receiving taunting emails from Ubisoft. This was actually funny, Caleb. The game, when you stop playing it, sends you an email, and the subject line is, "You disappoint me. It was amusing watching you fail, and surely you can do better than this if you stop the game before beating it."
This an actual email?
Yeah, they send it to you if you don't beat the game.
If Ubisoft was sending me unsolicited emails, I'd fucking murder somebody. Get the hell out of here with that shit, Jaren. They think they're Hideo Kojima out there, where in one of the Metal Gear games, the dude would read your memory card and like tell you what games you've been playing in the game. You know about that?
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah, fucking get the hell out of here, Ubisoft. Stop fucking emailing people.
Dude, here's the email. Here's the Hola, Rojas. I wanted to thank you for giving me free reign in Yara. Take it easy and know that Yara is in capable hands. That's what the main villain emails you if you leave. He's like, yo, thanks for letting me take the country.
It's kind of funny, but if I got an email from Ubisoft, I'd be like, I mentioned it to you, I think, earlier, but you remember Samuel L. Jackson from Pulp Fiction, where he goes, I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing. Remember that?
Oh, yes, I do remember that, Caleb. And the last one.
That's my quick quip, by the way, is Samuel L. Jackson's quote. That's it.
All right. And the last one, Caleb, in Quick Quips. My girlfriend said they finally named a game after me.
What?
The Dark Pictures Season 1 finale, The Devil in Me, was announced.
You're an idiot. You're fucking stupid. Shut the fuck up. How dare you even talk about that sea of fucking betrayal and all that shit? You're dumb as hell, Jared, in this podcast.
And that is the last part of the X Block Podcast, episode 32. If you would like to listen to this podcast somewhere else than you're listening to it now, you can head over to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Overcast, or anywhere else that Anchor supports. If you're the kind of person that likes to listen to podcasts on YouTube, you can find us at the X Block Podcast. If you would like to follow us outside of the podcast, you can head over to Twitter at XBlockPodcast. You can head over to Instagram at XBlockPodcast. You can head over to Twitch and Patreon, which Caleb will tell you about now.
Twitch is _XBlock. I've heard from the grapevine in the ether that Jaren is going to be streaming soon. So if you go over to _XBlock and give us a follow, you will see Jaren live at some point, and most likely me. But I just need to, I've been working stupid hours this past week or so. So I'm taking a break, when Monday rolls around. I'm taking a bit off. Once that ends, though, maybe, I'll set up streaming finally since they made it easy. You think Jaren and I are in the alpha skip ad ring? Are we, Jaren? Are you? You are, right?
I am.
I'm in the beta now. Okay, so Jaren's still in the alpha. I used to be. Once the Series X came out, I transitioned to the beta. So actually, I guess just look forward to Jaren more. And then right now, patreon.com/xblockpodcast, you can go over there and drop us a few dollars so that you can get me a Shure SM7B microphone as well as Jaren. Improve our audio quality, make the podcast better. It all goes back into it. So a few dollars at patreon.com/xblockpodcast. Dude, I ruined that at the end. I burped.
And please, podcasts live and die on word of mouth. So tell your friends, tell your family, tell your mom. Make sure your mom comes onto our Twitter at XBlockPodcast and tell her to give Caleb a piece of her mind for not getting the soap. XBlock out.
Thanks for listening to the X Block. New episodes every Monday at 5 a.m.
What the fuck these mowers are doing, man? It's 12:42 on a Friday. What the fuck are they doing?